What you watching?
Oh, I'm watching Motherhood, Sex, Marijuana podcast, as you should, on YouTube. Wow. My friend, Motherhood, Sex, Marijuana podcast on YouTube, the best. Check it out.
Motherhood, Sex, Marijuana podcast. Motherhood, Sex, Marijuana podcast.
Hey, I want a shirt, I want a shirt, look. La camisa está linda, loco. La camisita está linda. Beautiful shirt.
Motherhood, sex, marijuana in the motherfucking building. Yes.
Recording in progress indeed. Everybody is on time as they should be, motherfucking Lord. Yes. I like these. You know what I'm saying? When everybody is on time. You know what I'm saying? When everybody is on time. Motherhood, sex, marijuana in the motherfucking building. Let I get comfortable. Yes. You. And I meant, oh, why New York makes this noise. Shit. What is going on? Is everybody in the building? Yes, yes, yes.
Go ahead.
Hello, beautiful. How
Hello.
are you doing? And
I'm
yes,
good.
Ruby is here and we are on time.
My
You
queens,
know,
my
sometimes
queens.
that is very much something that needs to be congratulated. We are all here and we are all on time and we have
There we
not
go.
had a technical difficulty. Yes, 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 yes. We love it. We love
Oh,
it.
what a pleasure it is.
And-
Welcome, Queen Lena Hornet. I love you so much.
I mean,
Thank you for
shoot, the
having
look,
me.
I expected the
Yeah.
look to be just, or I just knew it was going to just come through. So shit.
Well, lucky for y'all, I had an open set tonight, so I was like, let me try extra hard.
Oh,
Otherwise, it'd be a bun, maybe a lash if you were lucky. But today we went full glam.
Gorgeous.
well, thank you.
Amazing.
You look gorgeous. And yes, Ruby, it is time to say motherhood, sex,
Motherhood, sex,
marijuana in the
marijuana.
motherfucking
Building.
And today we have Lena Hornet. Now we're going to talk about that. Okay, so I don't know what your impression of us when we first walked into the CWCB Expo. We was just like just rolling in. Like, okay, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then y'all was like your
yeah.
booth was like the first booth we ran into. So
True.
it's just like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? When I'm just imagining, you probably was like, damn, these girls are just like, they're all over the place, but I like them. I like their spirit. I like how they come through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? But, and of course I got to make sure and mention that the clouds be clouding. You know what I mean?
Very
The
true.
clouds be definitely clouding. So if you want, we're gonna go ahead and be quiet. We're gonna let you introduce it. Oh, we got shoot. The dog said,
Oh,
we
yeah.
outside.
That's my baby girl,
outside.
Alfie.
Hey,
No,
Alfie,
it's not
what's
just
up?
you in the show. We.
Yeah.
In the show. We.
Yeah, she likes to guest star, aka not leave my side. It's like having a shadow sometimes. She's always right there.
Beautiful.
But yes, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are and whatnot.
Yes, my name is Lena Hornet, as they said. I am a drag performer, entertainer based out of Brooklyn, specifically Williamsburg. I know it sounds bougie, but I'm right under the JMC, so I promise you it's not. Um, I do a lot of gigs around the city, a little bit in Manhattan, a little bit in Queens. And then when I'm feeling risky and want to go back home, I'll do something in Chicago every now and then too. And it makes me feel like I'm what they call it bicoastal, but really it's just a lake and an ocean. So it's not the same kind of coast, but it works for me.
I mean, it's where
Ooh.
you're comfortable at, clearly, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's what's good, you know what I mean? But what so because I kind of pictured that when you were at the expo that you represented as something of cannabis. Am I tripping or
Yeah. No, you're partially right. So I am a like sort of a promoter slash face of a great organization that works specifically with cannabis. Every year they get a booth at the expo to just hold down a
Mm.
flag for like queer representation. Because as you
Nice.
noticed, I'm sure there's a lot of male energy, a lot of straight male energy going around, and then you get a
Mm-hmm.
sprinkling of diversity, a handful of women, but the core audience is still the regular degular. So we like
mm-hmm.
to bring a little bit of color, a little bit of fun. The organization is called Proud Mary Network. It's
Mm.
the owner slash excuse me, there's a fly in my house. Ah, the owner of the
Yeah.
company, Proud Mary, is this wonderful woman, this beautiful redhead lesbian named Bree. But when she needs a little face, when she needs somebody to be expressive and to hold down the fort so she can do all the business stuff, she calls me.
Mm.
Nice.
Shout out to that queen as well.
Indeed.
Yeah,
It's all about working together towards a common goal where we all can benefit.
Word.
And
yeah.
you're clearly a star, and so she's an amazing businesswoman and a great strategist.
Yeah, I appreciate her
Lena,
so much. And I
we
appreciate you folks
appreciate.
so much too.
Well, thank you, Lena. Have you always been so brave and such a pillar?
It took a while, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
I think I spent a lot of time being myself, but mentally, it's hard to navigate that. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in a slightly conservative town, and it just a lot of time is spent noticing other people are not like me. But I
Mm,
never wanted to not be myself. So I
mm,
found the community and I found people who were just slightly off the beaten path or maybe a little nerdy or a little eccentric in their own way and made community with them. So I never felt alone. I went to a program, a school that was desegregated, which now might not even happen anymore for the youths, but it was a school in the suburbs that they were busing kids from the city in, specifically Black kids, to diversify the program and make sure we were getting an equal education across the board. So I
mm,
spent a lot of time really just watching and observing things play out. And it allowed me the freedom to create my own inner self and my own imagination of what could be for me. And then when I
mm,
left around 18, I moved to Chicago and that was my first time off the leash, you know? So I got to really
mm.
find even more community and meet
Right.
other queer people. My sister likes to tell a story that she slightly thinks she should apologize for every time, but she gets a little too drunk. But she picked me up from the airport in Chicago once and just looked at me and dropped me off at the LGBT center, no questions asked. And instead of even bothering to say, is are they gay? He was like, here you go. I don't know. You seem too intelligent for this world, and I want you to be around like-minded people. And those like-minded people allowed me the wings
Mm.
to fly. Yeah,
Wow. And such love from that
yeah,
sister.
yeah,
You know, you know what I love is I love not or knowing that I don't know everything. Um, I I like to pride myself in being an intelligent person, but I think part of that intelligence has to, do that. And it's okay. Like for instance, motherhood is, the cortisol levels, let me tell you, with this whole situation are insane all the time.
hmm,
And it's okay for me to not know everything, right? Also, uh, I'm so glad that you are so loving of yourself. I think self-love is something that we promote no matter what your background is. It's something I had to learn and it's something that I'm still trying to put into practice every day. But I
very
think I'm
true.
okay. I'm comfortable with my self-love journey. I'm comfortable with my awareness of it at the moment. In terms of your journey, so you mentioned about 18, you moved out to Chicago. You found more family, more scene. Um, was there ever a point in time where you could identify feeling completely alone, regardless of who was around?
Oh, I had to dig through the recesses. I'm sure it happened. Being a random Black kid who likes musical theater from the age of 9, you always feel a little different. But I
We
want
would
to say,
imagine.
yeah, uh, there's a specific memory that I have of waking up once at my grandma's house and my mom had gone to run an errand, but no one told the sleeping 5-year-old that someone was leaving. So I woke up
Mm.
screaming, and no one could really soothe me because in that moment, I think it was the first realization that yes, family is family, but I'm rooted to this one person. And without this one person there, then the whole concept of what this is blows up. So from
Mm.
there, that's when I think I really started to find that inner self and be like, all right, it's okay if you're the only one like you. If you're the only one that is a little bit nerdish and like knows too much and is reading the adult mail and everybody else is running around pretending to be Power Rangers, that's okay. You just have to find that inner strength to know that like, hey, there's 8 billion people out there. I can't be the only one who thinks this way. And
Word,
B, it might take a while to find that person, but as long as I'm here and I'm doing the best me possible, they'll come to me, They'll
word.
find their way.
And it definitely sounds like, like you have a family around you, a support group around you that, has accepted you, no matter what's going on with you, you know what I mean? Because we hear, we hear stories on social media all the time on, on TV shows, that, family members didn't accept them based on they heard, based on their lifestyle, based on, what they like and things of that nature. So it's like,
Yeah.
it sounds like you actually have a support group. Has it always been like that, or did
It
it,
took a while.
have to develop in, within the years based on, okay, we know what's going on, but give us a minute to, to take it in.
Yeah, very much that portion. So I come from my mother was very religious. We grew up Seventh-day Adventist. I personally grew up Seventh-day Adventist. She didn't, but she found her way because of the struggle she had in her youth. She had me in her 30s, so I got a different version of my mother than my older siblings did. And she was very much learning how to be the person she wanted to be while also raising me. So I was witnessing her in community and watching the way that she spoke about her past and her trials and triumphs to her
Mhm.
community and watching them sort of like, they had the space to, it wasn't called therapy, but they were essentially having group therapy and
Right.
being in those rooms with them to see how that paints a picture and how you can be the best self was my community for a while. Once
Mhm.
I got to high school, I think I found a group of friends that obviously not being their neighbor made it a little more difficult to see myself as like a member of the gang. But looking back, we were very much a collective of folks just happy to be there and happy to be around
Mhm.
each other, making terrible jokes and falling on the floor laughing. And then when I moved out on my own, there was a bit of a struggle between my family and I because mentally obviously they knew gay people, they had witnessed gay people before. I had
Mhm.
other gay family members, but something about having it be the one that you have is hard for some people to wrap their head around. So
Exactly.
we were very much, I won't say distant, like we were calling every week and updating, but it was very surface level as far as
Mhm.
the communication goes. No one was ever asking, who are you dating? How are you dating? What's that like? Except for the sister I had in Chicago. And
Mm.
through her dropping me off at that center, I realized that's not abnormal. And what it actually is a blessing because you're given a
Mm.
family in this life, but you can always make one where they lack.
Absolutely.
I
Word
believe
up.
that wholeheartedly because I mean, even in my own personal situation, there's there's family members that, you know what I mean, I wish I could talk to, that, you know what I mean, that we split up for whatever reason years ago. You know what I mean? And it's been over 10 years. And it's like, at this point, as a 51-year-old woman, I'm like, like, what am I'm not mad no more. Like, whatever we had, whatever beef was happening, it's freaking non-existent like a motherfucker. So how about we have a conversation? Now, I'm definitely not getting that on the other side. It's still, excuse me, it's still, fuck that, I'm mad, fuck you. I get it. And it's hard to accept, you know what I mean? It's definitely hard to accept, but at the same time, you got to go with whatever flow you're given, you know what I mean?
And you have to live your life for you. Like, yes, there are people that we can ask questions, give advice to, learn from their journey, but they're not physically living the life that you're living. So you do have to step out on your own sometimes. And I think the thing that we don't really get to acknowledge in society is that, like, yes, family is family. Family is great. Family is a bond. But family is people. And it's really your first time that you get to pay attention to how people operate, what people think, how they think, how they disagree. And that's your painting of the rest of the world from there on out. But if we don't see them as people, we just see them as this big totem pole of like community, it's harder to acknowledge when they're the ones that are at fault. So you blame yourself. And at this point, you're allowed to fly.
Yeah,
So
I love
I
that
mean,
insight.
and then it's like, it's not even that. Well, it's not even that you blame yourself. You just kind of just feel like, you at least in my situation, it's like I start feeling like, life is going every day. You know what I mean? Like, we already, you know what I'm saying? If we look back at the people we've lost, whether they were family or friends, it's like once they gone, they gone. You know what I mean? Like that kind of sense in your head kind of keeps ringing true. And it's like, and just like you said, you know what I mean? There's people that I've met, including Ruby be one of them, that you know what I mean, as a support group, as far as supporting each other, not only because we in this podcast together, but real life shit. Like, we support each other, you know what I mean? And I could at least, count on her to you know what I mean, to at least, engage in a conversation if something is bothering me, or vice versa, you know what I mean? And shit, and really, if it wasn't for her, kind of basically, making herself, be in my presence, I would have completely ignored her. Because, like, when I met her, that was for real. She can tell you, it was just like, she said hi, and I was, and because first of all, let me explain. We both met in Seattle. I'm definitely from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, like you. You know what I'm saying? In Brooklyn now. You know what I mean? And Ruby, is Samoan and mostly raised in California, and the whole, aloha aloha vibe, that's her.
Extra
you know what I'm saying?
friendly,
That's
extra
completely her. You know what I'm saying? So when we met, it was just like she ran up on me and she was just like, hello, and I was just like, yeah. You know what I mean?
And now you caught a vibe.
It was after a couple of blunts, couple of sessions, you know what I'm saying, where I had to sit down, and she sat down next to me, and it was just like, all right, so okay, we all right, let's talk. What's up?
But sometimes those are the best kinds of blessings.
Now.
Absolutely.
Sometimes when they surprise you, like, those are the people that I cherish the most when they came out of nowhere. Right. You're like, wait, when did you become my best friend? Like, I don't remember signing up for it.
Hey, I looked at her and I was like, we're gonna be friends. I'm really energetic, and I am a teddy bear, and I just can't help it, but I'm just honest about my feelings. And if I love you, I'm gonna tell you. And so I really love this conversation and where it's going. It makes me feel like back to basics keeps coming into my mind. And when I think of my culture, for example, people who are very fluid with not only their gender expression, but their sexuality, they're actually revered as spiritual, as very in tune with their spiritual nature. And so when I see a queen like Lena, my back to basics thought is, look at this goddess, and on some real shit, because it takes and whatever chakras that she got going on that are like just pumping through it, it's like that's what it is. And so I recognize that, and also I recognize and I appreciate the masculine nature in myself. I've come to, especially raising these kids and having to wear a couple of hats. No, I'm not trying to be your father, but I'm going to do father things.
Right.
You're damn right. We're gonna do the things. And I took the trash, and this is so stupid, but I took the trash out. It was like late at night, and I was like, yeah, I wish a motherfucker would. And
no, that's amazing.
If I had testicles, they would be bulging of not ego, but of I protect mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we all have to realize where we are. It's not ever going to be black and white. And to think that, I mean, have fun in your delusion. I beg to differ. Let's just say that. So it's like, I think it's, self-love, self-awareness, taking a self-inventory,
and
knowing where your dark side is,
and strength, because
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, your face, you know what I mean? As women, we face one thing, just having people putting us in a category. Never mind the fact that now we live in a society where the people expect you to look this way, be perfect this way. You know what I mean? And you gotta you know what I mean? You gotta floss off this level of. You know what I mean? You got to put off this persona all the time.
There's a perfection, yeah.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, that's not real. That's not fucking real. And you know what I mean? And for you, my next question for you is like, how hard is it to walk that? Because I mean, I'm saying, how long have you been living in New York City and been able to, walk down the street and be, because yes, New York City is like very much, fluid, very much, loving of LGBT, all of us, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
but there's still
we all bump
yeah.
into corners that you know what I mean, that you feel the heat of somebody not liking you because of whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you know what I'm saying, how have you dealt with, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying, knowing, walking in yourself, walking down these streets and and feeling anybody judging you or whatever, how has that been, what's your experience in that situation?
Well, I recommend two things specifically that helped me: Megan Thee Stallion and a stun gun. I got both in the bag at all times.
Okay.
But that's personal choices. It took me a while to get there.
Shit, we recommend protecting ourselves. No, fuck that.
Listen,
Stun gun
you never
ain't
know.
illegal. Ain't like you said a 357 with like 6 bullets in your other pocket. You didn't say that.
Oh, no.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said. No, that's not what you said.
Okay.
But I've been officially in New York. It'll be 11 years in March. And the first neighborhood I lived in was Harlem. And this is gonna sound crazy, but I moved here with my boyfriend at the time, who was French and like literally from France, who was coming for an internship and got like a neighborhood guide of New York. And the first thing in the neighborhood thing was Harlem is dangerous, because the book was out of date. Mentally, how New York was 10 years ago, the book was out of date. And it was right around the corner from the police station. So witnessing somebody else in that moment of fear was like, if this is their bad, then what's actually possible? Like, this is safe. We got bodegas, we got the police right there, the park is open. This is as dangerous as it's gonna get for me personally. So, you mind your barriers, you figure out what works for you. Luckily, in the neighborhood that I'm in right now, because I've only been expressing myself as beautifully as I am currently for about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, beautiful.
This is, and we've been in the same apartment since, but the first few months were like that first burst of COVID, and having the mask kind of made me feel a little bit more protected, especially in like cabs and stuff. So like, they might want to holler, but they're not gonna be abrasive about it if I didn't have the mask, because I don't know if you have everybody watching, but for the listeners, I do keep my mustache intact. It just makes me be able to tie the senses of who I am as a person
No,
rather
we
than what
encourage that.
image
It's like,
outside.
you know what I mean? I definitely, you know what I mean? Because when
Yeah.
this episode drops, because I don't know if you're subscribed to our channel, but right now we up to like episode 14 or 15. So this will be like episode like 21. So when it
Okay.
drops, we'll definitely send you a link. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, that's the main thing that I'm talking about, because I mean, I'm not well, I assume that you know this you know what we're seeing now is how
Yeah.
you know walk New York City
Yeah.
streets, and I'm
So this
thinking,
is like
you know what I mean, just
60,
like
40.
anybody, they'd be looking at you like, you know,
That's fair.
I could picture people judging, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to say, you know, how you handle it.
Yeah. So like I would say 60-40% of my time currently, because this is my drag is my full-time job
Right.
as well as part of my inner being. So like 60% of the time I might be going out. I'm going out a little bit later, so that helps. Keeps me mentally safe. You got a little hair in front of your face, they can't tell the difference unless you're right in the strobe light. Uh, and also just knowing that even if somebody was to threaten me, I know who to call. I know what the number is available to get to my sister, who's a law attorney in the state of Illinois for the vice governor. So like push comes to shove, I'm
Boom.
ready.
Boom.
And on top of that, you have to have that sense. Like I keep myself aware. Even if I got my headphones in, even if I'm jamming out, I know what's around me. I'm witnessing the surroundings. I'm nosy, to be quite clear. So that gives me a sense of groundedness. Also, being in this specific neighborhood, the 3 bars that I work at in the neighborhood are an 8 to 10 minute walk. People are
Okay.
familiar with like knowing where I'm going. Other people
Okay.
will make sure. I have a friend every now and then that'll occasionally walk me back, but everyone is aware. If I don't get a message from her in 10 minutes, we gotta look. Something went
Mhm.
wrong. And that gives me a little bit more peace in my everyday life. Daytime is iffy. Luckily, since I'm a nighttime gal, I don't have to witness the sunlight beaming on my face and clock in the mug as much. But we did do, ironically, a little bit of a short film on Friday this week, and it was 5 p.m. And we were like just a little bit of anxiety about what's going to happen because it's Bushwick. Even though it's beautiful, you never know who's walking around. And people gave us so many compliments. People were stopping their cars to wave and say, "Hey." It was the opposite of what you expect. And I
Mhm.
think the fact that we were
Beautiful.
carrying so much light, they couldn't help but be positive, you know?
Mm.
Some people are assholes. There's always that
Beautiful.
person out there. But if you carry yourself assertively and as true to yourself as you can be, I think for the majority, people will not be dicks about it, you know? That's what I
No,
like
it's
to
like
think.
carrying the spirit of God. You are
Yeah.
protected.
Yeah.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, it's New Yorkers know the name of the game is mind your motherfucking business. Am I fucking with
That
you?
part.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Wait. Is my existence fucking with you? No?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a lesson
Real
that seems to
talk.
have gotten lost out in the sauce. I don't know if we're losing the recipe, but honestly, like if it's not interacting with you, if it's not physically changing your chemistry, if it has nothing to do with the way your brain works, why are you bothering somebody else? What's the point?
Mm.
Because
But
now
the
we
thing,
both sitting over here
Good
mad.
job.
but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, one of the reasons why I asked that is because, living here, first of all, living here, and also, remembering what living here was like even before the pandemic. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like all of that. It's like, you know what I mean? Like right now, you know what I mean? The looseness of people, trying shit, is quicker in these streets. You know what I mean? People will,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I mean, as true. I mean, I don't know how about you, but I've actually bumped into people rolling weed at McDonald's. Like I bumped into people, straight lighting the whole blunt on the train,
Yeah.
sitting amongst people. And it's like, wait a
The
Here
minute.
we
prophecy
go.
has been fulfilled.
What are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
What is going
I was like, I didn't know
on?
we were signing up for a contact tie today, but here we
Right.
go.
Exactly, sir.
Um,
Like, what's going on? I don't mind, but others.
yeah.
There are others. There are others that are clutching
I
their
have
pearls and
I
talking
have a
shit.
question for you, Lena.
Yeah.
Um, do Do you get a lot of propositions for sex due to your name?
Ironically, no.
Oh, okay.
It's only
I,
happened. I guess I can count on my hand the amount of times that somebody has actively walked up and been like, "Let's do this." And I don't think that like I think a lot of people are. I don't come off as like soft and demure. I like take charge of the room in a way. So I
of
think
course.
As
that
you
kind of
should.
got safeguard. But now I'm just having flashbacks about this one random man who was sitting at the end of the bar, drunk off his ass, and was telling me that he owned a a recording studio around the corner and how I could reach out. And I was like, sir, it is 11:30 p.m. What kind of recording you expect me to do tonight? Because it ain't going down.
Well,
That's
you know what
Um,
kind of recording he wanted to do.
listen,
Come on now, let's
it's
not
like
play.
you don't have enough for that. I promise you. Unless you
oh,
were, I don't even think Tommy and Peltola could pull it off at this point. Like it ain't working like that. This is not
boom.
1992.
I mean, we
That's
do
right,
know
Queen.
that
That's right.
the record companies are not doing well with the streaming. So it's like,
Listen.
wait a minute. You're sitting here. How much
Come
money can
on.
you possibly be
Right.
talking
At
about?
at this specific dive bar.
And
Hmm.
you're sitting here. Yes.
Nice
All
try.
the
He tried
cards are
though.
wrong. All
Yeah.
the cards are wrong. So
And
But I
yes,
then
think
are
so
usually
let's
we
find out if well, do we so wait, we have somebody in our lives. How is that
yeah.
relationship going?
So it's been we met like literally the fall before the pandemic and have
oh
been in
wow.
step ever since. So it's like a little bit over 5 years now that we've been like officially dating. We moved in like right at the top of the pandemic, shifted apartments twice. One apartment burned down. That was a
Oh.
strange phenomenon. The whole block has somehow turned in the past 2 years. So like I think personally, I think somebody's saying it. But we ain't there no more. We in a nice apartment that has space for my
Good.
puppy,
Praise
so we
Lord.
happy.
Good. Thank
But
God.
just to say life is life and around us, like finding each other and really trying to manifest love, other things continue to happen. And it has
Mm.
somehow made the bond better rather than like cause enough strife to split. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
So
That
beautifully
sounds so
said. You
good.
are such an artist. Do you write your own music as well?
Yeah. I do dibble and dabble. I'm looking for somebody to produce. So if you know somebody, let me know. But I have one song out right now on Spotify that I wrote I want to say 2020, the summer of 2021, called Waking Up in Brooklyn. It's a little disco bop if y'all are interested. And I'm
Yep,
working on
we'll check
some
that out.
hopefully Christmas music. Yeah, trying to keep it seasonal and fun.
Why
But I
not?
do yeah, I perform I do when I perform, I'm mostly singing. I can also lip sync. I also do a touch of dancing, but usually my heels are too big, so we're very Mariah Carey about it. But it is a part of who I am, and I'm hoping to really take charge with that in this upcoming year. Really, just like get the music out there to people. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And how much do you charge for a feature, or is that depending?
Oh, let me talk to my people.
Okay. Okay. If
But
anybody,
it's
whoever's watching
negotiable.
this on some real, because we have to support our sisters as well and their businesses. If anybody's who's watching, you want to get Miss Lena Hornet on a feature, hit her up
Yes.
and ask about pricing for real, and shit free anymore. Groceries is going up, cost of
Listen.
cigarettes are going up, blunts, everything,
And listen,
weed.
the cost
Yeah.
of everything going up except Pum Pum, but we not
Ooh.
selling Pum Pum. I'm just
Oh,
No,
even
no,
saying.
no,
that's
no,
going
no.
up.
I'm
Didn't
just
you hear?
saying.
Listen.
I'm just talking out
Did
loud
you wait a
because
minute?
we
But
were talking
the
about
real.
prices.
Did you see that they've turned part of Steinway and Astoria into the new host role? It was on the news. They
Really?
bring
Yeah, I
the
have
people that
not
are
known that.
they're bringing in a lot of Asian women from other places to run the nail salons, but some of those are becoming misconstrued, and now we got people rolling around Steinway looking for a little extra loving, which is the last place I
Man,
would personally
listen.
look, but to each their own.
Wow. See, I
Man,
told
listen.
you.
I'm gonna tell you like this: the way things is hard around here. I can't. First of all, I don't judge nobody how they get their money. Like however you get your money, that's on you. You know what I mean? Be careful though, obviously, because the people are crazy, and the people like to pop these pills, and the people, you know what I'm saying, like to put people, these pills in people's drinks. So definitely be careful. But no, but at the end of the day, I could get it because walking into the supermarket, I get upset. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I walk in the supermarket, I be tighter than the motherfucker because I tell myself I'm only gonna spend this. I'm not going over this. And at the end of the day, I always go over, and it's always like, damn. And then for a fact you gotta do it again next week. Like, you know what I mean?
That's why you gotta go to the self-checkout.
Girl,
get
ain't
that
nobody
discount
trying to go to
on.
jail for groceries.
Loki, listen.
Ain't nobody trying to go to
They be
jail for
watching.
groceries. Not in New York
You know these
City,
cops ain't got nothing to do.
having NYPD touching you over some groceries. Nuh-uh.
Because they definitely have the free time. So, that's so funny. I saw that even potatoes were going up, and I was like, that means it's a famine, right? Like this is on the Irish settler famine stuff. It was the price of the potatoes has gone up 40%. We in trouble.
I'm trying to tell you.
We gotta grow. We have to grow food on some real do community gardens.
Girl, you on the West Coast. You can grow shit. Ain't no growing shit on this coast.
When you find the botanical recipe for Lay's potato chips, you let me know. I try to plan it. I know.
You know what I'm saying? Lay's potato chips, cake, and ice cream. Tell me how to make all that. And I you know what I'm saying? I grow all that shit
and the
in the backyard.
The eighth that you're gonna need prior to that.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. Yeah. But prior to and after, because that bloating is gonna kill me.
And so, Lena, who are your musical influences?
Oh, the question of the night. So I have a pillar of divas that I in my head raised me. These women don't know I exist. But for me, emotionally and spiritually, the way that my musicality
your
exists,
best friends in your head. That's what they are. They're your girls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They just don't know that.
Yeah, the first CD I ever bought for myself, I was 10 years old, was Mariah Carey's Rainbow album. And from that moment, I fell in love with her. I still had a higher register. Obviously, and you can also tell with the rasp of my voice, I think half of that is just having absorbed her Long Island accent. I'm going to be serious about it, but that's fine. So that she's one of the pillars. Selena, which is sometimes people are surprised by, but I grew up with family in Texas and was buying the albums like they were going out of style. And then
she's amazing.
Eventually I saw the movie and boo-hooed like a baby. Yeah. But that music meant so much to me because she was so rare to see at the time. This woman who had hips like the people I knew and who took charge like the people I knew and who had this big voice for somebody so young. So I really took a lot of that and can still do the Spanish that I remember is mostly just her songs. We'll get into that later. The third pillar for me is Audra McDonald because of the musical theater of it all. I have a BFA musical theater, so I went to college for it. And she is the epitome of Black talent in that regard. Like she has the more Tonys than any other human being in existence or had ever existed before. Her voice can do almost anything she feels like doing that day. And she's still grounded in her reality of being a mother and being just like this lady who can sing and just likes to perform. And it's rare to see somebody that successful be that gracious and that true to who they are from day one to day 90. So I love her for that. And I would also say Angela Bofield, for my New Yorkers out there. She's an incredible talent from, I want to say, the Bronx. Back in the day, she had most of her hits were in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
But she wrote and produced her own songs. She plays the drums, she plays the four instruments, and she has this beautiful voice that just feels like you're falling into a story. Like every time she sings, it just wraps you up in your arms and you get painted this beautiful illusion. Unfortunately, she had 2 strokes and can now only sing happy birthday to her grandkids from her words. But knowing that she gave so much of herself for so long, and it's there on record to witness, just blesses my spirit to know that, like, even if your gift might leave one day, you were able to be of service.
Mm.
You know what?
Immortal light. It's
That's
immortal.
definitely how I think of, you know what I mean? Well, practically everything I do from, you know what I'm saying, because I've written a couple of books, and then, I've done blogs, and of course me and Ruby are doing this. So I feel like all stuff, these things are definitely things that kind of, give our lives some level of immortality, some level of, something will be left here that says you were here and people saw you and they were, somebody supported what you did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely is what, I mean, like, what's your ultimate goal with everything you're doing? What's your ultimate goal?
Yeah. So right now, for the locals, if you're around New York, you can catch me performing through all these boroughs. Probably on Instagram for the dates. We got some holiday stuff coming up that I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Specifically, Ugly Sweater Party on November 27th. If y'all are around, please come through. But my
Wow.
ultimate goal is really to be, like, this is gonna sound corny, but in this bubble of like the how Little Nas X was able to succeed and become his own lane, and how Billy Porter has been able to create and manifest a career that nobody saw coming. I want to be able to be in that lane of success. I still want to, like, achieve things on Broadway and open roles and debut things with whatever gender happens to pay the most at the time. Let's be serious. But
Of
I'm open
course.
to
Yeah.
options. I want to record albums. I want to be on film and just really representing all of those little queer kids out there who really know that they have something to offer and are able to
Beautiful.
succeed and make it happen. That's what my goal is, to be a representative for them and to hold that torch so you can do it too.
And that's great to hear,
That's
especially
beautiful.
that that you want to still, be like, you want to be in the music industry, especially how it's going now with, with people, that are in the industry, are talking about, streaming, and you know what I mean, and how, you have to have, this, millions of streamings in order to make any kind of money, you know what I mean, like, because of things like that, you know what I mean. So do you have like other businesses that you trying to, you know what I mean, trying to be involved in, or trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to be, be able to, make other streams of income? Because shit, especially living
It's
in New
hard.
York, you gotta be a whole Jamaican, have 20 jobs just to make sure that you stay pretty, pay the bills, and you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, have a little extra money to go out to a restaurant or two. I mean, let's
yeah.
keep it real.
No, I understand. So I spent the bulk of my 20s, my teens, and a touch of my 30s working full time while also trying to pursue activities, going to
Mm-hmm.
school full time, always having two jobs. And the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic forced me to, like, actively reprogram my brain to do all of that effort that I was doing for other things that did not service me on
Right.
the talent, on the art. The pandemic sat me down and said, "Well, girl, you ain't got nothing else to do." And so I'm trying to take advantage of this time that we're growing out of whatever happened into whatever the new is,
Right.
to be on my game, to have it at the best level it can be, to make sure that when the call comes, I'm ready. So I'm auditioning for things in theater, and Broadway and stuff like that currently, because I still have my equity card. Obviously, SAG-AFTRA is still on strike. May the Lord bless them with a contract that is worth it soon, so that I can put that
They
in my
are
belt
still on
too.
strike.
The actors are still on strike. The writers have
Oh.
gone back, but the studio is
Oh.
holding for this, and it's literally the same things that they were arguing about the writers with a little
Oh.
bit more incentive for, like, being the talent. But
Right.
the
Right. Right.
studios are refusing to give any grace. So there's still a little bit of a battle happening. AKA, we might not get new TV till 2025 other than The Housewives, so just be prepared. Find you some DVDs, get some audiobooks if you need them, some video games, whatever your source may be. It won't be TV, just letting you know. But
Whoa.
eventually, my goal is to be able to manifest, because having my equity card for the union, as far as theater goes, allows me the possibility to then get the card for film and to steamroll all of the things that I've been working on and manifesting since I was a kid. as fully fleshed out as I can. I also create my own shows so that when those opportunities aren't possible, I'm performing 2 or 3 times a week at different venues, creating my own cabarets, doing these like 15 song sets, just so that everything that I can manifest in my own hands is happening. And when the
Mm-hmm.
call comes, all they got to do is give me the money. We
I
can run everything
mean,
else.
That's right.
It's a
shoot,
one woman ship over here.
let's keep it real. That's how, Joseline got to be, doing things on Zeus. I mean, even Dime Piece from Love and Hip Hop, she's on her own network and she has her
Yeah,
own show. So it's like, you know what I mean? That to me, I feel is more the trend, going forward as far as like entertainment, you know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of people are not just waiting for, some, TV company to just say yes, whatever. They're like, what? I'm gonna get the funds and I'm gonna have my own network, or I'm gonna go to a network and put the idea up and they're gonna fund it and it's a wrap and maybe on their network I get I have the rules is completely different versus
yeah,
being on ABC or like some channel like that, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
absolutely, I'm pretty sure you've considered having going to certain networks that would
yeah.
what I mean, accept or roll with it and automatically fund it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the beauty of having the live performance as part of my presentation, is that regardless of who is saying no, there's always a bar, there's always a venue, there's always somebody that will say yes. And as long as you can get 10, 15 people in there, there's your money back in
Right.
your pocket and you do it all over again. So that's where I'm at right now in my
Mm-hmm.
building state of making sure that I always have an audience that wants to support, so that when those big opportunities come, there are people that also want to give their money.
I love
They
that.
actually want to see the movie, hear the song.
I
There you
have a
go.
question for you too. What is your advice? I have a performance coming up, and it's kind of one of those situations where I think I bit off more than I can chew because that's 30 minutes and I want to
Oh,
incorporate dance and singing. So it's going to be not singing, but rapping and performing, right? So
Oh,
okay.
what would be your advice to someone who doesn't want to like totally run out of breath, but
No,
wants
I
to
get
give
you.
people a show in
Yeah.
that amount of time?
I would say building blocks focus on the story. The overall story that you're trying to tell will get you the bits and pieces to go in between. Because if you know point A, point B, and point C, and this is the end goal of what I want the audience to know about me or to receive from me, then you can fill in the blank. The other thing I would say is take it in chunks. Like, do the 10-minute section at the beginning for the first few days, and then add the second portion and do that for a few more days, and then add that third. So you're constantly building your stamina so that by the end of it, you can make it through that whole set without like feeling like, oh, you might still be breathing hard. Don't know, that's your body telling you, hey, we had a good time, but you won't be on the floor past out. So that's what I would
That's
recommend.
great. That's
Also,
great.
like, trust yourself, trust your gift, because you have it. They asked you to be there. These people want to see you. They want to see you succeed. So let all the nerves and all that negative stuff go by.
word. And I'm
Thank
assuming
you.
that maybe, I mean, in between performing, your songs or your poetry, however you plan to do it. I mean, I'm pretty
Right.
sure you could, do some ad libbing, talking to the audience, like,
Yeah,
hey, listen,
Right.
this is my first time doing all of this. So you know
yeah,
what I mean? Give me some thing, you know what I mean? What's up? How you doing? What's your name? What you doing?
yeah,
You here for do what? You here to see me? You like me? I like you too. You know what I mean? Do what
yeah. A little
I know. You know
banter.
what I mean? Give yourself some time to catch your breath at the same time. I
Yeah,
mean, where you just letting the music play and people, you interacting with the audience. That shoot, people love that. At least I think
yeah.
Yeah.
people love that.
No,
Yeah.
improv is a lot of like, it's one of the greatest gifts and strengths that you could have, especially when you're doing something long form, by having that moment of awareness. And even if you fall, even if you acknowledge it and you're like, girl, you saw that, me too. Like, whatever comes to you, that lets the audience breathe as while you breathe. You can both take that breath together and say, okay, let's
Word,
keep going.
because we all human. Like, you
Yeah.
expected me to come up here and be perfect? Chill out. Like, take it
That's the
easy.
next time.
That's next
It
time.
is a work
Make sure
in
you buy
progress.
your ticket though, like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, it gives people different facets of, while it'll, at least in my head, it'll get your nerves out, like whatever nervous, tension, anxiousness you feeling at the moment. It'll, that'll help you talk it out.
Thank you. Thank you both for that really good advice. And I hadn't considered a lot of that. I hadn't considered most of that. So, I like doing this to myself. I like scaring myself. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like kind of, like I said, biting off a little more than I can chew. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I a masochist for real? Because
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like
But
why do I
sometimes
do this?
there's a part of biting off more than you can chew that forces you to grow. Jumping off the ledge when it's a little bit scary allows you that to see and to acknowledge, okay, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to be. These might be my failures now, but hey, keep pushing through it. And you'll find that next step, that next level. But if you don't try at all, then you're just gonna
Word.
be bold,
Word, you gotta challenge yourself. You gotta challenge
Yeah.
yourself. Like
Like life is literally full.
like at the end of the day, even you gotta remember, Ruby, even this podcast we've been doing it for 3 years. I mean, it was a challenge at the beginning, just even figuring out how to do it in the first place. Never mind the steps that we went through to get it, down to, a schedule. We're gonna do it. We're gonna talk about this, and you know what I mean. It was definitely, you know what I mean. Like every step of life has got to be a challenge, or else what the fuck is life? Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah.
How beautiful. Lena, do you have any activities that are not related to music or art or anything that you really enjoy and that you kind of keep to yourself?
Yes. I am a gamer. I'll admit.
Okay.
I got lucky that first when they dropped the PS5, I stayed up for like 14 hours on Costco's website until I got one because I
Ooh.
hadn't had a system since like high school and we weren't going nowhere. So I was like, I need something in my house to entertain me that's besides this dog, besides this man. Let me get something to focus my brain on.
Mm.
So that's kind of the thing that I always can like lean back on if I'm having a rough week. I mean, like, let me throw on the Spider-Man 2 and just start, fighting crime and swinging through the webs. There's other games that mentally challenge you. There's some game like they've gotten so specific about the story-driven aspect. Like there was
Mhm.
one game during the pandemic that I was playing that you're literally it's called Spiritfarer. You're this little girl, this little beautiful black girl with a big old afro
Dope.
who's on a boat and you're dropping spirits off to the afterlife. But on their way, you have to help them learn their life lessons, plant specific trees for them, feed them specific things, so that when they leave you, they're the person they've always wanted to become. And now I'm about to cry talking about it. It is one of the most
I was
beautiful,
about to
like
say that's so. Oh
calming
my God,
games.
wait a minute. That's a
Yeah.
Wow.
You see, it's a whole different world out here now. It's not just like Mario Kart. They've opened the whole
I
can of
get
Thank
worms.
it.
goodness.
Yeah.
And I get it, the whole
Wow.
gaming thing, because I mean, it was so long ago. I mean, shit, the original PS, you know what I mean, PS1, that's years ago. But I had that, and the one and only game I had was Resident Evil. And
Oh,
shoot, and man, listen, the thought of just having her just picking up guns and killing everything on sight. I mean, it made me feel better for at least, 15, 20 minutes.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I was killing things, but not really killing things. It made me feel good. You know what I mean?
But it's
I ain't
also
gonna
training
lie.
your brain to like think outside the box. A lot of these games are based on
Mm.
strategy and like goal oriented or task oriented. So it's really giving you skills to like sort of like suit through whatever's happening in your head on a daily basis in a new way, you know?
Right.
That's beautiful. I actually It's funny that you said that because I would consider myself a non-gamer, but there was something that had, call it revelation, that had told me that I should start. So things like playing, like I like to play chess. And so I like
Yeah,
to strategize. And so I just feel like even though I don't know about this field, I think it would be behoove me to like dabble in it. You know what I mean? For the
yeah,
purposes that you said, I presume, but
yeah.
also
No, it'll be
motor
good.
skills, whatever. There's lots of benefits that
Hand-eye
come with it.
coordination.
I
So,
They
mean,
they
it's
they've
true.
worked it out.
And I remember back in the days, I mean, first of all, I lived long enough in New York where back in the days when they had game rooms, actual game rooms, you know what I mean? And you would,
okay.
you know what I mean, go into these game rooms and, games like Centipede and Pac-Man, you know what I mean? Old time games, yes, they old as fuck. I already said I'm 51. Fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. But the point is, that those games, like even those, while they were just about, trying to make sure you survive every level, it's still, you know what I mean? It still gave you a euphoric feeling, as you climb in each level. So it definitely, it's something that, you know what I mean? You got to play in order to get the feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now games, the way they are like positioned, like some of the characters, like even like as I or look at some of the sports games, like the dudes in the sports games look real as fuck, like the NBA, whatever the hell, 2K. I don't know none of these names, people, none of them, but I know for a fact that I see the commercial and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a game. Oh wait, that is a game. That's a
yeah,
whatever game. That's not an actual game that's on the TV and they playing. That's not them. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I get the love affair of them. While I will never I don't and shit. By the time I get a PS5, there'll be like a PS8, 9, and 10 because I'm not this 600, 500. You know what I mean? No, these kind of prices for no game. And I got girls, so that's another thing too. I
Yeah,
got girls, and never, none of them have ever been one of those get me a game. If anything, is like give me some money so I could go shopping and buy clothes. Like I like buying clothes and shit. Like fuck game.
yeah.
The fuck is
They're
that?
busy making real life friends. They don't need
Real life.
it.
Like wait a minute, we need to be at Macy's or something because this game thing is not for me, and I like it. You know what I mean? So that actually works out.
Have you thought of creating game?
Oh no, that's a whole level of skills that I don't have. Because
Word, that
there's
shit is hard
you
as
got to
hell.
really know how to like code and like that's
Word.
like soup. That's a whole different bubble of nerddom. I was like,
Okay.
I spent too much time at the keyboard trying to learn songs to learn how to then put it into a program on the computer. I barely made it through the Tumblr period, But I appreciate the people with the skills out there, wherever you may be. Congratulations on having more school than I
Damn.
You actually exactly. Congratulations on
Yeah.
paying attention. No, I was in school with you. I mean, 90% of the time, there was that 10%. But you know what I mean? But
I'm
when I was
trying to
there, I was
attract
paying attention. I was paying attention, but clearly you were paying attention a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's okay. It's okay.
I either like want to add to the team or date somebody who's like good at computer hacking. And I'm talking about like on CIA level. So if
No,
you're out
Oh
there,
yeah.
and see, that's the kind of thing that's gonna get us kicked off of YouTube. Like, girl, I be wondering
Mhm.
sometimes when you be saying some shit. Like, do you want to get us kicked
I'm
off
gonna
of
shoot my
YouTube before
shot.
they
You
send us
never
some money?
know.
We can't get kicked off of YouTube before they get us sent up some money. Like
It's all about knowing where you don't have the skill set and then, attracting what you need. So either someone on the team, I'm for real, holla at us. We'll
If
get
there's
you
a
on the
real life
show.
equalizer out there,
there's a real
please
life
give Ruby
equalizer
a
out
call.
there.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a vigilante team together. You guys interested?
Girl, no, because
Mm-mm.
at the end
I
of the
already
day,
told you. I'm
I
in too
got
many
kids to
heels.
raise. You do too. Your kids is smaller than mine. I don't understand. Like, wait a minute.
You right. I still have a kid that's shitting in his pants. I can't really
Oh
do too much
no.
for the world. I can't do
I
too much for
mean,
the world.
I
I
mean,
would say mine is
literally.
too, but she doesn't wear pants because she's a dog.
It's
She just poops
understandable.
outside, you know.
I
Freaking
mean,
humans.
shoot. Lord have mercy. But I tell you
This has
one
been
thing. I tell
beautiful.
you one
Thank
thing.
you
This
so
this this
much.
episode has definitely been a great one. I definitely thank you
Definitely.
for, you know what I mean, just
Sharing your
showing up,
wisdom.
being a part of our show, and definitely expressing, everything that that is you. Because one thing we like to represent on this show, we like to represent that that everybody is welcome on our show, and anything that's going on with anybody that's involving under the umbrella of motherhood, sex, or cannabis is definitely something that's welcomed and promoted here. You know what I mean? And one thing I definitely want to say, that you know what I mean, while we all represent different levels of women, shit, the fact is we all have the same, you know what I mean, the same goals when it comes to self-love, standing in our ground, you know what I mean, not letting nobody make us feel any lower than than anything. Just you know what I mean, just we
Yeah.
represent straight up people that the fuck, we not taking that bullshit, and you either love us or leave us alone. At the end of the day, you might want to love us, because at the end of the day, we bringing you some good
We're
shit.
done.
You know what I mean? But if you on that bullshit, then you just stay the fuck over there, because we don't got time for that. You know what I mean?
In
And
the words of in the
so
words of Wanda Sykes, the one time I bumped into her on Fire Island by accident, and I tried to apologize. She said, "What are you apologizing for, baby? You deserve to take up space."
Yes.
And that's
exactly.
what
Words of
today is.
wisdom.
Exactly. Your space is loved, is wanted, and is definitely
Shout out
part
to Wanda
of
Sykes, man.
is definitely part of the big scheme. You know what I mean? Nobody should be ashamed of taking up any space. It's my space, and you, just like you got a space, I get a space. We all get a motherfucking space, bitch. Fuck out of here.
Mhm. And there's
Yeah.
enough for all. There's abundance for all. Do you have any last pearls of wisdom to somebody who might not have as much confidence as as we're speaking right here?
I would say learn to live with yourself. I think it's one of the hardest things that no one talks about, is really, at the end of the day, even if you have a partner, even if you have family, the person that's running the show is you. Like, you're in there with your own brain 24/7. So if you can learn to live with yourself, learn to be your best self, that's the best advice I can give you. Apparently my fire alarm agrees.
Yes. Thank you, Lena. You're amazing.
Anytime.
Oh,
Thank
The
you so
angels
much.
are agreeing.
oh yes, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being on the show. Absolutely. And yes, those are words of wisdom, because at the end of the day, in order to love others, you got to love yourself. You know what I mean? And on that note, shoot, Ruby, let's get it in. Motherhood Sex
Motherhood, sex,
One in the
marijuana,
motherfucking building with
building.
Lena
Miss
Hornet.
Lena
Thank you for
Hornet.
being on the show, Queen. We appreciate you
Thank
big
Yeah.
you.
time.
Y'all have a
Peace
wonderful
out.
night. Keep smoking the chief.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's
Thank you
time to get
again.
high every time we fly.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, later.
Later.